smoke your hog, get out your bib, solid, picking a rib. Out the keys to a barbecue and start picking a rib.
And kept on picking.
Good for them, good for me and you, so let's start picking too. Old King Cole came out of a hole by picking a rib. Picking, smoked a hog on a red-hot log, called it a barbecue. Say, stomping chicken, we've got a new creation. Say, you better start picking, cause barbecue's taking the nation.
It's time for Pickin' and Flickin' in the Nostril Zone, where we pick books off my shelf and flick through them. What else could it mean? I'm your host, cartoonist Kyle Bridget, and before we jump into this, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, be a ding-dong daddy, and ding that bell. Today we're looking at Jungle Girls. This is a Craig Yoe from Yoe Books book from 2019. Introduction by Dr. Sheena Howard. It's kind of apropos that her name is Sheena. And this is a collection of Jungle Girl comics from the 40s and 50s. I don't think there'll be any from the 30s. I think the 40s is really when that starts. And, Jungle Girls was kind of an interesting, subgenre of jungle comics. It's like a combination of the good girl comic with sort of Tarzan-style jungle comics. And so this is a collection of Golden Age Jungle Girl comics, and it looks great. This is just such a wonderful cover, this L.B. Cole cover that's been adapted here. I love the jungle font. I love the sort of 3D bamboo lettering. It might not be coming across in the picture here, but this is kind of glossy where it says jungle and girls, and sort of the jungle girl here on the cover with her great little zebra bikini. She's also kind of slick. And then, of course, you've got this cheetah spine. I think this is quite possibly my favorite looking Yoe book that I own. I own quite a few, and I'm quite a big fan of Yoe Books, but I think this is probably my favorite just by appearance. So you open the book and you get these lovely cheetah print end papers. It's got a couple good introductions, one by Mike Maglio, the editor of this book. We'll just kind of flip through here. But, they're worth reading, and they give a lot of context. Here we've got sort of a later era Sheena. This is from, I think, 2004. And over here we have Sheena, Queen of the Jungle, from the TV show from the early 50s, a short-lived TV show that was very influential, with Irish McKella playing Sheena, Queen of the Jungle. It was really influential on a lot of people, including Crumb. And I've talked about that in some of the videos. And apparently she was so tall they couldn't get a stunt double for her. And just past the introductions, you have sort of a cover gallery. This is probably the best part of the whole book, to be honest. We've got All Top Comics here. All Top did a lot of jungle books. Who's this? Cave Girl. I guess that just is Cave Girl. I'm not sure if I've really read any Cave Girl. And then we've got Fight Comics with Tiger Girl. This was sort of really significant book for having Lily Renee, who was sort of one of the more prominent female cartoonists of the Golden Age era, doing Senorita Rio. Fight Comics was very influential on various cartoonists, including underground cartoonist Trina Robbins, who sadly just passed on, but I believe she did her own comic called Fight Comics. It basically stole this logo directly as an homage. There's not that many female cartoonists from the Golden Age that are really known about, so, it's probably worth pointing it out when we come across one. This is JoJo Congo King. This is JoJo right there. He's a jungle boy, I guess, like a Tarzan type character. I'm not sure who she is, but this is a very provocative outfit. Not only does she have this sort of low cut bikini top that's really, cinching up her cleavage, but her loincloth here, the way it kind of arcs up like a diamond shape, really kind of mimics the pubic hair, very edgy stuff. And over here we've got the girl herself, Sheena, Jungle Queen. This almost looks like an Eisner. Jumbo Comics was made out of the Iger Eisner studio, which was like one of the sort of pioneering studios of the assembly line comics. It says Dan Zolnarowicz here, 1942, but it definitely has a little bit of an Eisner feel. Here's another Sheena Jungle Queen on the cover of Jumbo Comics. This is listed as an unknown artist. And then we've got Jungle Lil. This bamboo lettering is not as nice. It looks like a bunch of screws, Very funny, very funny. And we've got a pair of Rula Jungle Goddess comics by Jack Kamen. Formerly, it was Zoot Comics producing Rula, and I guess before that, All Top. Now she's graduated to her own book. Gun to my head, I would say Rula is probably the second most famous Jungle Girl comic. Okay, we've got Sheena Jungle Queen again, this time in 3D. It includes the glasses. This was like an early 50s kind of gimmick for comics. It seems like every comic did a 3D issue at some point. We've got Seven Seas. This shark looks like a cat or something. Like, what's going on with his lip? And then we've got Tegra. And I just find this leopard that's pouncing on Tegra here just to be so goofy looking. And is that how a cat's legs bend? Not all these golden age artists are created equal. Okay, and then we get the cover here in its original form, Jungle Thrills from 1952. And over here, Zoot Comics, this time featuring Rula, Jungle Goddess. So she's making a cameo to kind of put over this other jungle girl. And Zoot Comics is really funny. They went through, over the course of their run, like a whole bunch of different genres. Like, I think they were adventure comics at one point, but certainly there was a period, like a substantial period, where they were funny animal kids comics. And they actually had this one character, Pussy Catnip, who is like the most unappealing design for a funny animal comic I think I've ever seen. And so that's the cover gallery. That's worth the price of admission alone with this book, I'm telling you. But then we've got these wonderful reprints of a nice variety of Jungle Girl comics. Okay, so starting off strong with Sheena, Queen of the Jungle, the undisputed most famous jungle girl, I think. And we're not really going to read any of these. We'll just kind of flick through and let the artwork and the vibe kind of wash over us. I guess I should say who worked on this book. Okay, all right, lots of people. Robert Webb, Alex Bloom, Matt Baker, and David Heames. Like I was saying, this is like the assembly line period of comics. This is by Fiction House in 1945. It's interesting. They kind of have to make do with a very limited color palette, right? There's a 4-color printing process. So, a lot of these skin tones are kind of like weird when you stop and think about them. They don't really look right especially in isolation. This is topless woman here. This is very provocative. Sheena actually is my grandfather's favorite comic from when he was a kid. I asked him in the early 2000s. It kind of dawned on me that he was kind of the perfect age to be reading Golden Age comics, sort of at the birth of the comic book. He's part of the silent generation where they were really affected by World War II, but they were too young to go fight. But they were older than the baby boomers. They're like the parents of sort of the second wave of baby boomers. So he told me that like he really liked Sheena, Queen of the Jungle, because it was sexy, and so he used to always trade for Sheena comics, and he thought all the superhero comics were just too gay. I don't know how he felt about like Wonder Woman, but he liked the babes. All right, and here's that cave girl with these goofy skeleton head men down here. Oh, I like them running. You can really hear the Hanna-Barbera running sound effect in there. But goofiness aside, this is a really beautiful comic. Lots Lots of good color and the setting is conveyed very emotionally through the colors. And then we've got Judy of the Jungle. This is Frank Frazetta, actually. 1948. This is very early in his career. I don't know if Graham Ingalls is uncredited on this, but if not, you can really see the Graham Ingalls influence. I know Graham Ingalls was like a very early supporter of Frank Frazetta. He would have only been 19 when this came out. And kind of all the way through it, you can really tell it's an early Frazetta. It doesn't quite have, his voice isn't quite established. It, is very heavy on the brush. It has certain elements of Frazetta, but it's not quite there yet. And what did I say? This was 48? Yeah, 48. Very interesting. Malu the Slave Girl. She wasn't a jungle girl proper. Her stories were set more in like a Conan-esque antediluvian fantasy world where they could be like Orientalist or medieval or pirates. And her stories were sort of told in retrospect from this contemporary socialite with a psychic ring or something. They must have been stretching for jungle girls at this point. And here she is, Rula from All Top Comics, number 8, 1947, Mike Baker. The reason it's blue here, just in this monotone blue, is because this would have been on the inside front cover, and so they would only use one color plate to offset the price of that glossy cover. I like Rula a lot. This is a very provocative angle, diving into the water. I like how all the frames, all the gutters kind of bend around to ensure that you get a full body shot constantly. You got to be selling these dames. That's the whole name of the game. Now, Camilla here, it says by Victor Ibsen, but it's actually credited to Fran Hopper, who's another female comic artist from the Golden Age. Oh, there it is. She worked for Planet Comics doing Mista of the Moon, another one of my favorites. So I guess Ibsen must be like the writer or the creator of the character. A lot of times it doesn't mean they were involved in any way. All this kind of wispy line work and geometric paneling is very reminiscent of Planet Comics. Jungle Vengeance, what do we got here? Everett Raymond Kinsler. He's actually more known as a portrait painter, like a fine art portrait painter. I think he painted like Reagan, Reagan's official portrait. So this is early in his career. He's doing comics. This is really just juicy line work, really kind of rises to the top. The cream rises to the top. I like all these open forms that kind of just bleed into nothing, and kind of give the impression of like a foot or whatever. Like over here, the top of the foot and the bottom is drawn entirely in negative space, and it's formed by the texture of the tree. Just really, really gorgeous stuff. You can see this guy got out of comics, which were seen as kind of like a trash business at the time. All of the kind of hatching lines are really kind of swirling around in a really pleasing kind of way. Like this, Nazi-esque guy with a big monocle. Monocles have really kind of gone out of style. And I also like these kind of little graphical storytelling embellishments, like the crutch and the knife. And up here we have a mask. Those are kind of nice, and they really help with the flow of the story and, make the text look nice. Because it is just using like some lettering system, so it is a little bit plain otherwise. This Tigra comic is pretty rinky-dink here. The lettering on Tigra is all kind of wonky, doesn't quite work. You can see the lines where she was, drawn on a separate piece of paper and cut out and collaged in, right on the back of her spine there. Her lips are underworked. They should have colored her eyes white at least. Would have given it a little bit less of a dead look. And this hand, what's going on there? This is really cheap. And, but you love to see it in the Golden Age. You love that sort of cheap, low effort, get them out the door kind of ethos. Something about the chintziness just really does it for me. I wouldn't accept it in a later comic, but in the golden age, you love to see it. This is a pretty dynamic panel, probably swiped from somewhere else. It's laid out nice. I like these rounded panels down here. Something about the golden age, it's just that it's like they're making it up as they go along. So there's a kind of innocence to the whole thing and a certain naivete to the art that just really works and so delightful, so weird and alien and new. This pose here looks very familiar, like it's out of a film or something. In fact, a lot of these panels look like they're very posed. The figure, who is this? This is Kazanda by Peter Amos and Brody Mack for Fiction House, 1946. Yeah, like look at these panels. These are all like very, very posed. Like they either got like a Betty Page photo collection, or they used to have these stores that would sell film stills. And I feel like a lot of these panels are maybe drawn from something like this. Oh, she's not looking so hot in the face here. Now we have Princess Pantha. This almost looks like a John Severin kind of thing, but it's by Art Saf. A lot of empty space up here. Oh, I really like this lettering, though. Deep in the Hawaiian jungle. So she's a Hawaiian jungle girl as opposed to like an African jungle girl. Although I didn't know they had panthers on Hawaii. I don't think big cats are indigenous to the Hawaiian Islands. Oh, look at this guy. He's got a thumb for a head. He's got that thumb head going on. Okay, next we have Crusoe Island by Howard Larson. Oh, this is really racist down here. Like, could she be any more yellow? It's like something out of Daredevil, like the claw or something. He's so yellow. I mean, look at this here. It looks like she was colored in with a highlighter. And what's going on with these layouts? It looks like they dropped a plate of glass and then kind of assembled it back together. Like this. Her skirt is like caught on a stick and it actually like tears over top of the panel below. And then look at her down here. She's got her shirt's wide open, her bra's out. This is kind of kinky almost. And look at this hand. Like, you wouldn't even know that's a hand if you didn't have any kind of context clues. If it wasn't colored in, it was just a shape, you'd think it was an island or something. Next up, we have Phantoma, Daughter of the Pharaohs from 1942, George Apple for Fiction House. This is kind of an Egyptian-themed jungle girl comic, so I guess she's in North Africa. And look at the size of the chunky uraeus on this pharaoh's crown here. Speaking of snakes, I like this snake right here. If someone drew this snake unironically today, you'd make fun of them for it. But there's just something about the golden age, just this kind of earnestness that just kind of makes it so delightful. It'd have to be ironic nowadays. And here's Tiger Girl. Now, she's swinging in on this rope that kind of looks like it's tied around her neck. But the way her feet are making contact with him, it's almost like she's doing like kinky foot stuff to his face. Not kicking him in the face, but just kind of pressing him. Like the outfit on the Weird Queen with her, fancy stilettos. With this guy here, he's like green. I guess that's just another 4-color dilemma. You want someone a different color, You've got 3 skin tones you can pick. I think this is our last one. This is Tangy in the Buried City from 1953, Star Publications. This is really chintzy. The way that Kala here, Tangy's mate, is like flying in. Her feet just kind of disappear. What's going on with her hand? It's like a lobster claw. And like all these lines on his leg, it's like they just look ugly. They make him look like old and sinewy and stretched out. Get a somewhat gratuitous underboob shot here. This whole comic here, this is really ugly. And what's going on with this guy's eyes? It's like he's got like mega pink eye, but it's blue. Here she's wrestling a cat. Looks like a guy in a furry suit. And what's going on with these legs here? These are going in all directions. And this looks like it's swiped from like Robin from a Batman and Robin cartoon. But like, how's she holding her weight up? It's like she's not even holding the weight of her body with the rope here. Yeah, so what can I say about Jungle Girls? It's got to be the definitive collection of Golden Age Jungle Girl comics. You know, if you love the Golden Age, there can't possibly be a better book than this on the genre. You know, if you like that kind of like, you know, Golden Age art, the kind of naivete, the flagrant sex appeal, the garish colors, you know, this is a book for you. And I can't rate it based on the strength of the stories or the art, because those are kind of all what they are. And, you know, it's so schlocky and hacky, and kind of the joy in it is looking at sort of the industrial quality and the camp value of it all. You know, these are really kind of like at the beginning of and at the height of the assembly line style of comic book production of the Golden Age. But it's a beautiful package. You know, it's very well put together, well designed, great essays, and just the reproduction is just masterfully done. Like, these comics look better than they would look if you went out and sought out the original floppies that these came in. They wouldn't look as good as these reproductions. You know, I got to rate this as what it is, you know, a collection of Golden Age comics, and a very specific genre of Golden Age comics. This is very niche. And to that end, I give this 4 nostrils. I think it does a great job of being what it's supposed to be. And yeah, I would recommend this to any comic collector who's very serious about the Golden Age or comics history. This is a book that you gotta have. And other than that, I'd just like to mention that I have a Patreon where if you sign up, you can get access to these videos and all of my videos early, including Canonically Crumb. As well, you'll be thanked at the end of the episode, as we'll see in a moment. And if you don't care about that, well, you can just flick off.